We are unable to be objective and consider the problem realistically. Stress can result in a drain of more than 70% of blood from your neocortex, that is a willpower or the cognitive center of your brain, and which carries oxygen. When the blood flow from here goes to the body, obviously the oxygen is not reaching your rational thinking. So then what happens? When the oxygen is lower in the brain, carbon dioxide is higher in the brain. And when the carbon dioxide is higher in the brain, you are anxious, you are overthinking, you are depressed, you are in procrastination, you are fearful, because you don't have oxygen supply, which is the prana, which is the life force of life. Now what happens is you can't think straight when there is higher carbon dioxide in your body, in your brain. It is like a computer. And all the latest version of computer, which has got all the masses of data stored on its hard drive. But the computer is at the end plugged into an electric socket. Now, if you pull the computer, unplug the computer from the electric socket, all the stored information is still there, but you can't access it. And that's exactly what happens in your life when you have not dealt with something that has happened in the past. Now, is this making sense, everybody? Do you know why you're struggling in your life right now? How many of you got a huge bulb on? Type HBO in the chat box. And how many of you think that this should have been taught in the schools? At least when you become a teenager, right? So I want you to do one thing today. Okay? I want you to find one person in your life today and share this concept. Will you do that? Let's empower people to think differently today. Most people are living in mediocrity and ordinary life because you don't know how to control the center of your body that controls your success and struggle. Right? Wonderful. So let's go deeper into this. Shall we go deeper? Dive deeper. DD in the chat box if you're ready to go deeper. Now let's understand where your stories come from. How do you create that unconscious expectation set point? I want you to go deeper into this aspect. This is a very important aspect, okay? So I will tell you something about my life, okay? When I was 8 years old, I was in 4th standard. And, I always laughingly say this, that I was the youngest in the family. So I didn't have 2 parents. I had 5 parents. My parents and my 3 elder sisters. Now, what happened is when I was 8 years old, one of my sisters decided to put me in the competition of public speaking. And this competition was in the school. We had to speak about a freedom fighter. And she made me prepare the entire speech. And I was ready with the speech. She woke me in the middle of the night just before the day of the speech. And I woke up and I spoke the entire speech. But unfortunately, what happened is, when I went to the class, and I went and saw all the students from junior KG to 10th standard, their parents, teachers, principal, everybody sitting in front of me, I got scared. I forgot the entire speech. And I kept looking at people, had no idea what to do. And I started crying. After a while, my teacher came and she picked me up and she took me away. After that incident, what I remember of is there were so many children, those who were either laughing at me or some of them were teasing me and bullying me. That incident caused a huge scar on my life. Anybody like me here who's gone through something like this, not exactly this, maybe something else, where you either were embarrassed, bullied, or you were shamed? Let's understand what happens when something like this happens in your life, okay? So when you go through a childhood embarrassing event, You either go through teasing or bullying. Both of them create anger, shame, or unworthiness in your space. That event makes you feel that you're not worthy enough. When you go through these emotions, the mind associates getting attention from people means feeling embarrassed. The memory gets triggered every time you are at the center of attention. Okay, now center of attention, when does it come? When you get an opportunity, when you are negotiating, when you're selling something, when somebody is appreciating you for your work. All that, when you come as a center of attention, whether it's with one person in a relationship or whether it's in big people, like large population, your old past memory gets triggered. That memory again and again getting triggered releases adrenaline and cortisol, creating the neural pathways from your brain to your body that not all is well and you're not safe. There is a tiger. The moment you get into that attention, there goes a place where you feel that you're not safe. I'll give you an example. Yesterday I was working with one of our students, okay? And she was mentioning that, she feels that she's not heard. And she's struggling in her business, and we were working on her business and how her mindset can be changed so that she can start working on her business. And she said that every time I feel my team members, my family members, nobody listens to me. And I said, why do you want people to listen to you? And quickly she had tears in her eyes and she remembered that when she was a child, she was all the time hiding from her father because father and mother had issues going on. Or if father would get angry because of his work or business, all the father's anger, every time he would see her, for no fault of hers, she would get slapped. The father would just come and hit her. So all her childhood, she would hide away from her father. And when I asked her that why do you want people to listen to you, her that memory got triggered and she said, she started crying profusely. And she said, I remembered that I used to hide all the time from my father because I didn't know when my father is going to hit me. And how that resulted in her life now. Because her habit is hiding from the attention. And if you're in the business or in the work, you have to ask for work. You have to ask for promotion. You have to ask for that salary. You have to ask for that business. And if your brain says that asking for something means putting attention on you, and if you get attention, you are going to get whacked. She would get anxious, fearful, and she would then settle down to whatever she would get. How many of you can resonate with that? Type R in the chat box if you can resonate with that. Thank you for sharing. Now, what happened in her spaces, or my space for that matter, we created 3 coping mechanisms. The first one is rigidity. How many of you are rigid in your approach? My way or highway? If it is done this way only, I'm going to do it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. So she rejected multiple opportunities in her life because it was not done her way. Because it was not her concept. How many of you have become perfectionists? I was a perfectionist in my life. And that stopped me from taking so many opportunities and achieving great success at a young age. Or you become a comedian. You start laughing at yourself. You start, deflecting things, and you make fun of everything. How many of you are R? How many of you are P? And how many of you are C? How many of you are RPC? All of it. Right? Now, this coping mechanisms puts pressure on you. Because you hate yourself when you do that, isn't it? And that pressure eventually now builds procrastination, anxiety, fears, and self-doubt. Now, do you have the clarity of why you're doing what you're doing? Type C in the chat box. Is this time well spent? Are you receiving a lot of value right now? Type LOV in the chat box if you got a value. Okay, wonderful. So before we move forward, I'm going to show you a case study and then you're going to tell me what did you learn in this first part. Okay? This is Subham Shaini, software engineer. The challenges I was facing were social anxiety, issues from childhood trauma, emotional trauma, addiction. I had a very low unconscious expectation set point. As soon as I was through the first day of Ultimate Success Champion, Dr. Meghna made me realize my old conditioning, helped me break them and establish new thought patterns. I started reaping the benefits immediately. I got a raise. My CTC increased from 6.8 lakhs per annum to 10.37 lakhs per annum. In the same company and same position, I got an opportunity to lead my team for a long-term QA activity for a brand new project. I have become 5x more assertive. I feel the path becoming clearer. This was the best decision I made, and nothing matches the presence of a real coach in your life. Now what he does is also became a script writer, and his short film is awarded. How many of you want something like this in your life? Type I want. Wonderful. Now, before we move forward, I want you to tell me what are your top 3 bulb-on moments up till now? What are your top 3 aha moments? What are some of the realizations that you have got about yourself right now? Dose, trigger tiger, structure of brain, how brain works, all of it. You have to be specific. Why we procrastinate, adrenaline and cortisol, brain conditioning, mother, father and son, self-doubt, where is it coming from, my weaknesses. You had all the problems that I had mentioned. You compromised too much due to past trauma. You won the World Cup already, Rohan. We have a lot more to cover. Realizing that your body is making you feel anxious is not to harm you, but to make you feel safe. Amazing, Ananya. What an insight. Childhood memories, especially the negative memories. Wonderful. Fantastic. Good job, everybody. Pat your back. Pat your back for amazing understanding and learning right now. So let's go to the next point now. The next point is releasing your childhood patterns. Okay, now we're going to discuss about how your body develops the patterns, how your brain develops the patterns. Okay, so let's do this. I want you to do an activity with me. I want you to put both your hands out like this. Put both your hands out like this. And now take them like this and make a fist, like, hold a grip like this. And notice which of your thumb is gone on the top of the other. Is it the right thumb or the left thumb? Okay, right, left, left, right. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, now let's do it again. Okay, put both your hands out like this. Again, do it and see which thumb went on top now. Is it the same thumb? It's the same thumb, right? Absolutely. Fantastic. Now let's do this activity a little differently. Put both your hands out and this time change the thumb. Change the thumb. And notice how you feel in your body. Did you feel weird? Did you feel uncomfortable? Yes, right? Now, can I give you an insight here? Okay. So when you were a baby, you will always see babies lying down on the bed, either open hands or closed hand like this. The babies will never sleep like this. Okay. So when you were a child and when you're growing up, you did this activity enough number of times. And that time your reptilian brain kept taking the picture of every time you did this. Your reptilian brain's job is to put everything on autopilot so that it can save the energy. Your brain consumes 20% of the energy from whatever you do. Okay? 20% of the energy, and your brain size is only 2% of your body weight. So 20% of the energy goes to this 2% of the organ. Your brain constantly is saving the energy. What if the tiger comes again? What if I have to do something? So anything that you do in your life, it tries to put it on autopilot. So you did this enough number of times and your brain kept taking the screenshots. And out of, say, 10, 7 times you put right thumb on top. Now your brain created an association that next time when you do this, automatically the neuro pathway will put your right thumb on top. Or if it was your left thumb, it will put left thumb on top. And if you try to change the thumb, it creates the discomfort because little bit of stress hormones are released in your body at that time. Adrenaline and cortisol gets released and you start feeling uncomfortable. How many of you felt the urge to go back to your old previous thumb that naturally comes to you? There you go, right? So basically, when you're growing up, you developed a habit of putting that thumb on top. This is how you develop every single pattern in your life. Now imagine changing a thumb made you feel so uncomfortable. And you're trying to change big habits. How much uncomfortable your body and your brain is going to feel when you want to change those big habits. Making sense, everyone? Type MS in the chat box if this makes sense. Wonderful. So now let's understand that I want you to understand one thing, okay? I always talk about this. We are so used to, since childhood, to get into 2 minutes noodles, right? Our brain is fed for shortcuts and fast results. How many of you know what I'm saying? But you want to be successful in your life, there is no shortcut to it. Write this down. There is no shortcut to it. Okay? It cannot happen in 2 minutes. It happens over a period of time. So what you have to train your brain is into this one thing. Write this down. Write this down. Your brain is wired for short-term gratification. Because millions of years back, you had to save yourself from a tiger, or you had to kill a rabbit and eat quickly before somebody else take away your food. So that time, millions of years back, for the reptilian brain, short term was required. But today we are not in that condition. So we don't need short term gratification. We need long term gratification. We should not fall for the instant gratification. So all the work that you're going to do for yourself on brain rewiring, whatever I'm teaching you today, you're going to practice it for the next 90 days. Are you going to do that for the next 90 days? So there is no instant gratification. There is a long-term gratification. There is an experiment done, okay, about this on primary school children. And that experiment was the researcher went into the primary school and had the marshmallows with him. And this experiment is available online. You can check that marshmallow experiment. So he gave one marshmallow to every child and said that if I'm going to go out now for 15 minutes, till the time I come back, if you don't eat this marshmallow, I will give you one more marshmallow. And for 15 minutes, the teacher went out. Now, some students did not eat that one marshmallow, thinking that, okay, I will get another one and then I will eat. But some could not control and had that marshmallow. The teacher came back, and after that, they studied these children for the next 20 years. What they observed in these children, those who held on to not eating marshmallow, they waited for the second one to come, got more success than those who ate immediately. What are you learning from this experiment? There are no instant noodles, because you may like instant noodles, but are they healthy for long term? Not healthy, right? They're going to damage your body in the long term. So I want you to keep that patience with yourself, and I want you to constantly remind yourself, no shortcuts and no instant gratification, slow progress. That's where we learn the hare and rabbit story, hare and tortoise story, right? Slow and steady. That's how your brain will change. It's not going to happen instantly. I want you to remember that, okay? So I want you to focus on this for the next 90 days, not just